Good morning and welcome to Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show. I am your regular host, Nkamian John the Beloved, also known as the Controversial. And in joining with the rest of the world, a happy International Women's Day. I know it's Women's Month, so a lot of the conversation going forward will be revolving around women. Now, Saturday, March 8, 2025, Nigeria joined the rest of the world to celebrate International Women's Day, IWD, with the theme Accelerated Action. Now, the theme emphasizes the urgent need to take decisive steps towards achieving gender equality, addressing the slow pace of progress, and empowering women and, of course, the girl child across the world. Now, recent incidents that highlight the ongoing challenges, biases, and sadly, hostilities women continue to endure when they step into positions of power or public office faced by women in leadership across Nigeria has raised deep concerns, as highlighted by a report that was part of several reports that came up in commemoration of International Women's Day. Now, several women's organizations expressed disappointment and sadness about the situation in Nigeria, even as the world gathered to celebrate this year's International Women's Day. In a press statement made available to the media on burning national issues, the group highlighted two alarming cases that exemplify the systemic obstacles of power and influence. Now, first, the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti, a female senator facing severe institutional pushback after raising concerns about misconduct. Now, claiming that investigation conducted as far as public knowledge is concerned showed that she had not been given fair hearing. But she has been met with punitive measures that effectively silence her and compromise her ability to serve. Now, the various women groups unequivocally condemn all forms of harassment, discrimination, and violence against women and have called for a number of reforms. One, fair hearing for Senator Natasha. Two, an immediate and independent investigation into the assault on Folake Shoetan with swift legal and disciplinary action against those responsible. Institutional safeguards that ensure all individuals, regardless of gender, can seek redress without fear of retribution. Now, stronger protection for women in leadership, reinforcing the importance of due process, fairness, and accountability in all sectors. And a renewed national commitment to gender equality, ensuring that women can lead and contribute to Nigeria's development without fear or bias, intimidation, or harm. Now, on today's edition of the show, especially as we continue the celebration of women and, of course, the International Women's Day, we will take a critical look at what Senator Natasha Akpoti suspension means for women, particularly in public office and in politics. Now, the show is live and interactive on all our social media platforms. We are streaming on our website, www.rbnradiotv.com. And of course, as always, my advocacy is that you become part of our growing online community simply by following and liking Rapid TV on all our social media platforms. Don't forget, our handle is at official Rapid TV. And of course, the WhatsApp portal is also available. You can take advantage of it. And the number for the WhatsApp portal is 0916 771 6035. 0916 771 6035. Now, last Thursday, March 6th, 2025, will go down in history as one of possibly one of those dark days in our great nation, Nigeria, Africa's most populous country. Indeed, it was a dark day for Nigeria's democracy as the Nigerian Senate suspended one of its own, Senator Natasha Akpoti, for violating the standing rules of the Red Chamber of the National Assembly. 14 days before the suspension, the elegant female lawmaker had an altercation with the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, over a new seating arrangement that did not go down well with her. But unknown to her, the audacity with which she made that open protest had angered the authorities, who saw it as an unruly behavior. Now, there were suggestions that Natasha must be suspended there and then, but a higher reasoning prevailed, and her case was referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions. But everyone knew that giving the committee the task of investigating Natasha's alleged unruly behavior was possibly a mere formality. Hence, when the Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions Committee rushed through the assignment and submitted its report, even without hearing from Natasha, it was clear that it had done a hatchet job. The speedy consideration of the report and the unanimous endorsement of its recommendations were therefore no surprise. So, let's relive some of those moments. Because by the time we can come back, I think I have the right person to have this conversation with. One, in terms of the fact that when it comes to ethics and etiquette, it's her field. And the fact that she has also had her stint in public office. So, as they say, let's hear from the proverbial horse's mouth on this edition of the show. But first, let's see how it all started. Senator Natasha, of course, having the audacity to air her grievance with the seating arrangement, and of course, the final decision of the committee in terms of the Committee on Ethics and Privileges as regarding her suspension.
President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Natasha Akpoti, and I stand to raise a petition under Order 40. A petition may only be presented to the Senate by a senator who shall affix his or her name at the beginning thereof. The petition is in my name against the President of the Nigerian Senate, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, for sexual harassment, abuse of office, and malicious obstruction of my legislative functions. You may recall, sir, that on Friday in Arise TV, I did make some statements. And I have decided to narrow these statements in a formal petition against the President of this Senate. So if it may please you, I would humbly step forward and lay this petition. Thank you.
You may proceed. Distinguished colleagues, this petition is hereby referred to the Committee on Code of Conduct, Ethics, and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate as soon as practicable.
Petition.
Any other petition? Yes.
So, that was Senator Natasha, of course, presenting her petition. If you just tuned in, well, this is Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show, Korero. On today's edition of the show, we are taking a critical look at what Senator Natasha suspension means for women in politics. Don't forget, we're still in the months where we're celebrating women and everything women. So the show is live and interactive on all our social media platforms. We are streaming live on our website as well. And of course, the WhatsApp portal is also available for you to take advantage of. I know that Nigerians across board have varied reactions to this development that has emanated in over a week going to 2 weeks now, and it continues to be a subject of conversation in every nook and cranny across the country. All right, so moving ahead. Just a day after the Senate suspended Senator Natasha for 6 months following her petition alleging sexual harassment by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, the federal government reacted to the controversy surrounding the suspension of Senator Natasha, saying it is working to mediate peace between the parties involved. The Minister of Women Affairs, Imam Suleiman Ibrahim, disclosed this while speaking with journalists at the presidential villa in Abuja. Now, she stated that the government is engaging with the leadership of the National Assembly to ensure a fair resolution of the issues. Yeah, you will recall that in February, Natasha had a disagreement with the Senate leadership over the change of seating arrangements. She later went on live TV alleging sexual harassment by the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, and denial of her rights. Now, a lawsuit demanding damages for the alleged actions were instituted by Senator Natasha. Reacting, the minister described the situation as unfortunate and stressed the need to protect women's representation in politics. Now, joining me to have this conversation on the show this morning is, as I said when a few minutes ago, is someone that I believe, because when I was thinking, instead of bringing core political or civil society, there's going to be a whole lot of emotions and all of that, I needed to bring somebody who has somewhat been in the reins of public office, probably had some experience or skirmishes of male chauvinists in public office, to share some of her experience and possibly give us a woman's perspective to all of this. And with the hope that, especially in a month where we are celebrating women, that everyone gets to have a clearer understanding as to how to approach these issues, and particularly in the build-up to 2027, the political parties and political actors will be a bit more sensitive to the women folk. So, to examine all of this with me, I have a former commissioner for small, medium enterprise and new business development with the Abia state government. She had at one time also tried to run for public office. She will relive some of those moments again with us. It's nice to have you, Honorable Adaku Osiaza.
Thank you.
I know you were a bit skeptical about this conversation.
Honestly.
but let me start by asking you, when all of this unfolded, what was your reaction?
You know, it was from stage to stage. The first was about the seats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's a delicate topic. It's a very sensitive topic, especially being a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And because for the women that have come out that are not in support of Senator Natasha's character or reaction, you know, everybody is against them, because you're supposed to support women. Or they say women supporting women. So it's a borderline. It's a thin line between, if a woman actually does what is wrong, will you support her because she's doing what is wrong? Or are you supposed to actually look at everything that happened and say, okay, she was right here, or she was wrong here, she was right here, she was wrong here. So when you called me to speak, I said, God help me today. I don't want to be misinterpreted. You know, it's a struggle for women. Especially, I have run for House of Representatives, like you said. It's a space. It's not, every woman is not an alpha female. It takes a lot of courage, guts, to come out to run for such an office, because men are still struggling for the space. So how much more you as a woman? So how are you as a woman, how are you going to present yourself in such a way that you will be accepted by these people? how are you making them comfortable to have you in their space? How are you going to make yourself trustworthy that they can trust you? Because politics, to a large extent, is about trust and loyalty. How is it that you can communicate what you want people to hear without coming across as being rude or be seen as someone who has a strong godfather behind her and can do a whole lot of things and get away with it? So it's a tough one. What has happened in the Senate is really tough, considering the fact that they were family friends. They were friends at some point. How did it, turn around like 360 into becoming total enemies? What was going on before? Is there anything we don't know more? Or, or really, was she harassed? Because they need to prove this too. Suspending her was because of the misconduct, right?
Yeah.
Not because of the sexual harassment.
Yes, the president of the Senate over the weekend did come out to say that the suspension is about her misconduct
Yes.
On the floor of the Senate, rather, but not about the sexual harassment claim.
Yes. So, I have a daughter. I don't want her to be afraid to tell me when she's sexually harassed by anyone. So I will never, ever support sexual harassment in any form. But I like to also ask, there are two sides of this. We saw that in the past, Senator Natasha accused Reno Omokri for sexual harassment. And Reno has been coming out to say that I never harassed her, and these were my dates, these are the stamps in my passport. And later, Reno actually came out to say he was paid for damages because probably sued or something like that. And that was the end of that, meaning that, because we didn't hear from Senator Natasha again, so we don't know, meaning that it never happened or something. On the other part of Senator Akpoti, a lady had previously alleged that...
Which, as of this morning, reports have it that he has threatened to sue.
Yes, so it has taken some years. She alleged that she was sexually harassed and he didn't say anything. So, and another female is pointing the same accusing finger. I don't think it's a case that should be swept under the carpet. I think for the purpose of clarity, for the purpose of justice, for the purpose of tomorrow, for women to be comfortable, or for men also be careful in their own way. The government should take it serious to actually look at this case to know what is the truth and what is the lie. I can't come out now to say Senator Natasha is lying, or Senator Natasha is saying the truth, or Senator Akpoti is lying or saying the truth, honestly, until they actually dig into that case and tell, in all sincerity, and tell us, let the public really know. That's when I think everyone can have a fair judgment.
From your perspective, having been in public office, you ran for House of Rep. Where exactly did Natasha go wrong?
Well, what I saw that was wrong the first day about the reassignment of seats, you see, from people came out to say that it wasn't the first time, even though she may feel something has been brewing in the past. And that was also a way of putting her away or distancing her from not being seen or heard, and maybe that was her reaction. But honestly, as a teacher in etiquette skills, pointing your hand at the Senate president and shouting and saying, I am not scared of you. I am not scared of you. Even if you're trying to communicate the truth, that alone makes people feel, oh, wow.
There's more to this.
There's more to this. I think that was wrong. I don't think pointing your finger and shouting at that point was necessary. It could just make people turn against you, whether or not you're saying the truth. So even as much as we have to be assertive, being assertive and wanting our voice to be heard as women does not actually also give us the right to be rude or a bit abusive or come across as being abusive.
So at that point, she did contravene the standing rules.
I believe so. I've not been a senator, but from what they are, what they are telling us, they consider that probably as a misconduct.
you've been in public office. You're former commissioner. You ran for House of Reps. What would you, from your standpoint, consider sexual harassment? Did you at any point in time suffer anything close to sexual harassment?
It's almost impossible for you to go through that process without being sexually harassed in one way or the other.
Wow.
Yes. It's
So
almost because
almost every woman in public office has had to experience.
yeah, because you see, it doesn't just affect women in public office. I think it affects women in
Even
all
in
sectors.
the private sector.
In the private sector, it's I've worked as a banker. I'm sorry. So it's across all levels, and sometimes it may not just be because they want to offer you a position for you to sleep, in return for whatever you want to give to them. But normally, as a woman, even a mad woman has admirers on the street. You find a mad woman gets pregnant by who? Probably a fellow madman, or another. Everybody has somebody who admires her. So it's expected. It's expected. But now, how you manage it or how you handle it, or how you say, Itagiwa said something, you don't encourage it. When they come, you make your stand known. If you're not in, you're not in. And they get the message. I mean, only a very stupid man or a madman will continue coming back to pester you. I mean, if someone holds your hand in such a way that it's not, you're
not comfortable.
Professional, not comfortable, but you take your hands off and stop it and nip it at the bud. No responsible man wants to keep on being embarrassed by a woman. So yeah, I saw that. It happened to me, and I mean, I stopped. I don't even want to go to the extent of what I heard or what I was asked to do to actually get the ticket.
Wow.
But I told myself, if it's not time, it's not time. I don't have to sleep with four, because it's not even about sleeping with one man. Sometimes, someone had the effrontery. Let me not go too deep, but it happens. It's sad. It can be discouraging because you want to serve. You come out. You're doing everything that they want you to do. And honestly, being a woman is not. You have to really make up your mind to see to the end. Because at some point, I was asked to step down from running, and I told them, I'd rather have another man step. I'm the only female here. So why should I be the one to step down? I don't care if I win or not. I don't care if I get the ticket or not.
It's not even about your competence. It's not about your qualification. It's simply because you're a woman.
Well, normally, we are actually the weaker vessel, right? And God made it so. I believe that God has made the man the head, no matter what. No matter how much you think you are competent, or you know it all as a woman. Somehow God has given this men the power. How they use it now is what matters. But for my own case, I just felt, you see, a lot of things come to play. They might look at the financial standing. They might look at, okay, this one has more money. She doesn't have maybe enough money, that kind of thing. So there might be different factors. It may not just be because you are a woman. You might be a woman and you might really have money to pull through, and the men will support you because you have the cash. So women need to be empowered and encouraged. Because politics is not a child's game. You go into it, you want your voice to be heard, and then you have people who have the capital, they have the funds to do this. You're competing with them at that level. So you have to, I don't know, more so ask God for favor, because it's politics. Power is spiritual. It's not something you just go into physical. That's why they say if you're not holding on to God, you're holding on to something. You are probably will be holding on to God, and somebody else is holding on to some God outside this country. You're not. You have to pray. You have to watch it. You have to be determined. And luckily for me, when I told them I wasn't stepping down, they allowed me to see it to the end, and I was happy I saw it to the end, even if I didn't get the ticket. But then it put me in another position where I could get another appointment, because you have to prove yourself. You have to speak to people. They need to listen to you. They need to be sure that you can represent them. So even if it's not time to represent them in the House of Representatives, they found it worthy to have, serve as a commissioner in the states, because of course.
Did that change the dynamics for you? that you couldn't serve as a honorable member, but you got the opportunity to serve as a commissioner. Did that in any way reduce the chances of male chauvinism? Did that also limit what you were exposed to in terms of sexual harassment?
Like I earlier said, this sexual harassment of a thing is at every level.
Wow.
Whether you're running for House of Representatives, whether you're a top banker, whether you're not a commissioner, you're still going to meet men. We're only 2 women at some point in the cabinet. And I had an experience because we had this WhatsApp group and I was trusted to manage the finances. Like when we have people, if you lose your father, you lose your mother, you lose, or something like that, we had contributions we were making. One of them had indicated that he liked me, I mean, outside the job, of course, I said no, but I was still friendly. I mean, we still, when I see him, we greet, but I made my stand known. At some point, I was really fought on that platform for no reason. Like, you would just be wondering, what did this girl do? What did that girl do? What did this girl do? Because I take my instructions from our leader in the group. I don't disburse funds until I'm given approval. So everybody sees it. So I don't take the decision of where the money goes or where. But you see, I saw people fight me, like, and that maybe because you're a woman, and they think they can just, run over you. If I had known what I had known now, at some point I had to just leave the group for my sanity sake. But as a woman, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself that you are there to work and you will deliver. I think what really now saved me was at some point I was able to deliver some loan from the CBN to the SMEs. And luckily, those people, some of the people that were fighting me, their candidates benefited. If one of them said that, I thought that after fighting you would take off sideline
my candidates.
No, I won't do that, because that's not what God expects me to do. I came to serve the people. The people that were able to got it. I didn't even care whether those fighting me, their candidates were in the list. I didn't touch it. I just allowed it go. And guess what? That changed the whole narrative, because they now began to see me in another light. Oh, she's a woman and she can even do what we cannot do. Nobody could actually go access those funds at that time. And most of all, our own candidates also got it. So they pleaded, they apologized and everything, and then there was peace. Some people may say Natasha did not speak up on time. I think this case is a case that the sexual harassment will be isolated, because if they don't handle it in a very good way, it may make some people not speak out when they're sexually harassed, or feel that it's not time or whatever. And it may also make men uncomfortable with women in politics, because nobody knows who is coming to harass them. Again, calling them names of being sexually harassing them. So, but I think every woman should be firm, tell the man you don't want, and be ready for the consequences. Yes, because there might be consequences. Yes, a man might just be brutal, but then don't even lead a man on, because...
Well, how do you know? Because I was going to ask, where do you draw the line when it comes to the subject of sexual harassment? I mean, in England, for instance, as an adult, right? Yeah, in England, for instance, it is customary to kiss the hand of a woman.
But that's their culture.
That's their culture.
Yes.
From where I come from, the part of Nigeria I hail from, it is customary for a man to want to hug a woman.
Yeah, so that's your culture.
That's my culture. So, where do you draw the line with all of this? Well,
you see, an innocent hug will always be known. I don't think in your culture, a man hugging a lady innocently will go as far as hugging her so tight, or bringing her, her feminine, her boobs like so close to you. Of course, if a man does that, you know that this is no longer the normal hug.
A light hug.
Yes, a light hug. You understand? Yes. So it's just like the culture in England where you know, okay, now here we can shake hands, right? A man shake you, but when a man shakes you and does this to a female, he already has told you, he has passed the message across. So you nip it on the board immediately. For me, once you see something that is unusual, you know, or abnormal, you nip it to the board immediately, because when you begin to laugh over it, encourage the man.
So that kind of leads him on.
Yes, it kind of leads him on that you are interested, that you may say yes. You know, he hugs you today, he holds your hands tomorrow, you see him, you know, you entertain him. It leads him on, and he feels, okay, she might play game, but honestly, there are some women that when you see their faces, you will not even dare. I don't want to mention, you won't even dare. But that's not to say we should push aside that these things exist and should be encouraged, you know. They should also try to, you know, encourage women come into politics, make it a safe place. And women, even when you're in politics, ask your other colleagues or your seniors, how do I handle this situation? Especially because there have been women that have gone ahead of you, that have experienced this, you know. How did they handle it? How do I handle it? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go on air immediately? Or am I supposed to, you know, report this within the house now? Or what exactly do I, how is it, how is it that for not even one woman in the Senate?
That's surprising though, because Senator Itagiwa did react, and you know, she was coming from more of the standpoint of, Senator Natasha should have applied some level of maturity to it and all of that. And then surprisingly, everybody was looking at the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who herself had serious fisticuffs, physical skirmishes with her male counterparts in the Senate, and she kind of brushed it off. So,
what were her words exactly, the First Lady?
Well, she recounted her face-off with, I think it was then Senator Rufai, and the things he said. But she didn't go the way of saying, oh, I got physical.
Yeah, you know, for the First Lady who has been a senator to come out and speak in that manner, because I thought she was a bit diplomatic too.
Yeah, she was.
She was diplomatic. Yeah. You know, she said it shouldn't be encouraged. It's a matured Chambers. I remember her words. I don't know if there is more that we don't know. You understand? I don't know if there is more that has not been
brought to the
fore that people don't know, because when you see someone like the First Lady playing it down, you see other women in the Senate playing it down. My question is there more?
So could it be that the fear of a scandal that could rock the foundations of the National Assembly is the reason why a Senator Itagiwa, a Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the First Lady of the Federation, would choose to walk that path and say, it's a mature chamber, let's bygone be bygone, so to say?
Honestly, you know, sometimes, I don't know, God has his own way of doing things. And maybe nothing also happens by mistake. Maybe it's also a process that God has brought in place to clean a system up, you know. I don't know. But the future, going forward, I guess we would know. I don't know what they have in mind or what they had in mind by, you know, because Senator Ireti said if she was truly sexual harassed, and is the truth, that they will support her. She said it, that they will support her. So these are still, you know, they're all like, you know, alleged,
yeah.
You know. So I guess that is why, I think that is why none of them is taking a stand yet, because it has not been proven that is true.
That is why I asked that question earlier, that where do you draw the line when it comes to sexual harassment? Because the way the female senators have responded suggests that they have individual interpretations as to what sexual harassment is.
For me, it's still the same thing as nipping it on the bud. Is it, you mean if you're sexually harassed, should you come out to speak? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, it's more about defining, like they would say, all fingers are not equal. Where you would draw the line may not be where another female would draw the line in terms of sexual harassment. Oh, he's the Senate president. I should show respect. I should. So even if he grabs me by the waist, I wouldn't want to.
No, the fact that he's a Senate president does not give him the right to grab you by the waist. And if he grabs you by the waist as a woman, you say you don't want it, you stop him immediately. You know, and I know it can be frustrating. Peradventure, it's true that he was sexually harassing her. Maybe she got to the point of being extremely frustrated, and, you know, that's, you know, made her flare up so badly. But women should not be afraid of men in power to say, because you're in power, I would entertain any sexual harassment from you, you know. And like I said, we also expect men in power to be reasonable or responsible. Yes. Don't make women feel uncomfortable. Don't go holding hands when you're not supposed to hold hands and all that. It could lead to anything. Because if somebody wants to bring you down, they can use anything to bring you down. You know, if somebody, I mean, so these things, there's no hard or fast rule, but sexual harassment should not be tolerated at any level. And like people are, like I said, I have a daughter. I would not have her keep quiet. I would not encourage her to keep quiet, but I would not expect her to be.
So in terms, once it comes to sexual harassment, silence is not an option.
I don't believe silence should be an option. Like, you don't pretend like you don't know what is going on. You don't pretend that a man is calling you late in the night and gisting with you. You don't understand. You understand? You're still acting numb, like you don't know where he's heading to. You know, you stop it at that point. And especially when you're in such a position, you have come to, you know, you have a task ahead of you. I don't think any woman should tolerate that. And honestly, at some point, if it means you speaking out or voicing out, if it gets so bad, I don't think there's anything wrong in voicing out. But like I said, this case is
there's more to it.
It's funny because of the past histories on both sides. So it makes it difficult for anyone to actually take a position until they are done with their investigations and tell us the truth, and hopefully we'll get to know the real truth, and nothing should be swept under the carpet, because the world, the global community, everybody is watching.
Watching, exactly.
Yeah, it has gotten this bad. It's a mess. You know, it has gotten this bad. Everybody is watching, so people need to actually know exactly. You know, it's sad because I feel for those in authority that the Senate has been dragged to this level. You know, some people might be having empathy. You know, let's not just ridicule or you know, let's not just allow one female mess everybody up. Or let's not. It's tough, but my prayer is that let the truth prevail.
Let's go back to something you said when we started this conversation. The fact that other women didn't support, and still, as it seems, they still don't support Senator Natasha at a time where there's so much talk about women empowering women, women supporting women, the female affirmative action, the advocacy for more women to come into public office, more women to take part in politics. Now let's look at the bigger picture. What does this portend in the build-up to 2027, where we should naturally expect more women to come out to run for public office? Does this in any way boost their confidence?
Well, let me say something first. These women that didn't support or come out to say we're supporting Senator Natasha, are you really going to blame them? Because, you know, nobody has actually proven. We need to know what is the truth and what. You can't come and support what.
There are no facts on
ground.
There are no
facts, yes. There are no facts on ground, you know, because you don't know tomorrow. Senator Reti said if truly she was sexually harassed and it's proven, that she will support her. Senator Reti would not support what has not been proven. That's what she's trying to say. And maybe they're quiet because nothing has been proven yet. But probably they're not in support of the misconduct, and maybe that is why no single person said nay. Do you understand? Everybody kept, not even the PDP senators. Everybody appeared.
Yeah, but there are suggestions that a number of senators did not sign the petition against her.
Oh.
And why? Because they had reservations as to how the matter was handled. Some senior senators have said, look, yeah, she's young. She doesn't understand the workings of the Red Chamber, but that is why they are advocating that her case should be justice, mercy with justice, and all of that, and that the suspension was too drastic and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's not as if there haven't been reactions, but in towing the line of what you said, that there seems to be more to it. So everybody is being cautious in how they approach the issue between the Senate President and Senator Natasha.
Yeah.
But there has been that attempt to say, hey, we think this is a bit too drastic.
Too drastic, yeah.
Too drastic.
Yeah.
We must consider that she's fresh. She's just coming. She's still learning the ropes. And we find, even though they say ignorance is not an excuse, but I mean, we should temper justice with mercy. But for me, and I think that's the thinking of most Nigerians, especially because, we're in 2025. The elections are 2 years away, but already the mechanism and the machinery of politics is already running. How does this reflect on women who had their eyes set to run for Senate, to run for the House of Rep, to probably run for governorship? Seeing all of this, doesn't it discourage them?
For me, the more reason why you should not be discouraged. The more reason why, as a woman, yes, you pick out lessons to learn from this, so that when you get to that position, you would, know how to actually behave, not find yourself in such a position. This should not deter any woman from running. It should not make you feel like, oh, is this what I'm going to face? Well, for what? No woman should be afraid to run for any position, If what has happened, and then what I as a woman will ask myself, if I become a senator tomorrow, what am I expected to do? First of all, I have to learn the rules. I don't want to find myself in a compromising situation where I'm speaking the truth, but because I have flouted the rules,
it overshadows the truth
that you want to communicate, which of course we'll all know later on by whatever it is. But that's just because once you flout the rules, it just automatically changes the whole narrative. So for women coming into politics, it's also a lesson for us that we get to learn the rules, hear from other people's experience, so that you try to do things the right way as much as possible, because sometimes you may not avoid being in one trouble or the other. It now depends on the male factor you're dealing with and how he wants to approach the situation. But I would say that no woman should be discouraged with this, but rather they should take out their lessons. What have they learned from this going forward? How would you as a woman apply wisdom? How would you as a woman be emotionally intelligent to know how to react, when to react to situations? All this will guide you as a woman going into politics and into a place of leadership.
Okay, you've spoken to women. What about the political actors, the men? Because what are the take-homes for political parties? In the 2023 election, when the media got the opportunity to interact with some women who ran for public office, they highlighted a number of challenges they had to face to even get to where they got to in terms of the kind of financing. You talked about it and all of that. But in the build-up to 2027, as a woman who's tried to run for public office and who's served as a commissioner, what would be your advice to political parties, especially the leadership of those political parties?
Okay, first of all, let's go back to the bill that they've been struggling to pass, allowing 35% of women representation in the House. I really think that they should consider passing that bill, so that first of all it can be mandatory for this percentage of women to be represented, because making it passing that bill and making it compulsory for women to be represented by having the 35% representation makes it impossible for any political party to disregard or push women aside. As long as that bill has not been passed,
women will continue
to struggle. Yes, women will continue to struggle because men are struggling for this same thing. How much more you? Because we're only few that can even dare to come out, you know. But when they pass that bill and they make it compulsory, the political party will sit down and say, okay, this zone must be a woman. Maybe only women will run and the best will win, you know. Take it like that. I think that's really going to help, because by the time they know that compulsory they must have a woman come from that place or their state, maybe out of all the constituencies, there must be a woman for each state or something like that. That way they will do everything to push a woman. They would even come out, she will have people that will support her, or, you know, that would invest in their finances, you know, in her. But as long as they don't pass that bill, it's really going to be difficult for women to make it, or, you know, move forward in politics. Yes, because when you get there, you are equated as a man. Nobody sees you as somebody they should pity. No, because you chose to come to that field. So you're expected to do whatever a man does. You're expected to, if they jump, in fact, for women, if they jump like this, jump higher. Do you understand? Because you need to prove yourself that, look, I can do this, even though I'm a woman. It's tough, but I think any woman going into public office should be strengthened from inside.
Is it possible that in the nearest future, Honorable Adako will once again attempt to run for public office?
If the opportunity presents itself, why not? But there are lots of factors. Zoning, you know, so I don't want to waste my time and my resources if the zoning is not favorable to my own constituency, because I'll just be wasting money. So, but if it comes to my area and my people feel, oh, you served us before, can you come and give it a shot? You know, because it's easier when the people want you. You know, although Nigeria, even if the people want you, if the governor doesn't want you, that's the truth. If the governor doesn't want you, you might as well be wasting your time. Unfortunately, that is what politics is. So if my people want me and the opportunity comes, I'll make myself available for service again.
Wow. Well, I'll be looking forward to that. Well, to wrap up today's edition of Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show, it's no longer news that Natasha has been suspended for 6 months without pay. In addition, her office has been sealed and she must not be found anywhere near the National Assembly or participate in any legislative activity of the Senate. Like an outcast, she's going to live the next 6 months all alone, except for family, friends, well-wishers, and constituents. Well, this is not only cruel, but a miscarriage of justice and an abuse of power, based on some opinions. It is simply a way of saying to every lawmaker, don't dare the Senate or else we give you the Natasha treatment. Don't forget, some senators had already walked the path that she's walking. Senator Nengi, a number of senators had already suffered the wrath of suspension as far as the Senate is concerned. Well, it is a pity that this is happening in Africa's largest democracy, and inside the National Assembly, the supposed bastion of that democracy. It is unfortunate that the Red Chamber took a decision to suspend Natasha without looking at circumstances leading to her open protest during plenary on February 20th, 2025. As my guest said, there seems to be more to this conversation. While it is true that the Senate standing rules give the presiding officer, in this case, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, the prerogative to allocate seats to lawmakers, the same standing rules prescribe that the clerk of the Senate should notify the affected lawmakers that their seats would be or have been changed to avoid confusion. So, the puppets in the Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions Committee claim that the formal petition Natasha submitted on the sexual harassment scandal was dead on arrival, but that is against the rule of natural justice. At least she submitted it, a record 2 times, and it was twice rejected by the chamber. However, this could the standing rules of the Senate be so stringent that a female lawmaker cannot ventilate her grievance, but a male presiding officer could sit in judgment over his own case? Of course, that goes to allude to the school of thought that the Senate president should have possibly stepped down to allow for neutrality in the matter. After all said and done, one is tempted to believe that patriarchy and male chauvinism may have worked against Natasha as far as this melodrama is concerned. It is also possible that party affiliations and the rivalry that goes with it may have also been one of the factors at play. Well, that sums it up for today's edition of the show. We hope that we, in our own way, have continued to shed some light and bring some facts to the fore as we continue to wait for further investigation into the matter. But at the end of the day, all that Nigerians advocate is that the truth be told and the right thing be done. So at this point, a special thank you to Honorable Adaku for making our time to be on the show this morning.
Thank you for inviting me. I hope.
No, you did shed a whole lot because, as I said when we started this conversation, I thought about it, and you came to mind because you have run for public office. You've been a former commissioner, so you're more or less somebody who's been there, and I mean, you've given us a whole insight into your personal experience as a woman in public office. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And of course, thank you to you, as always, for allowing us to be a part of your morning and your day. Trust us, as always, to keep our searchlight beamed on development and our ears to the ground. And as we continue to bring the issues to the front burner and dissecting them with a hope to bring in preferable, workable, practicable solutions to issues facing our great nation, Nigeria. I am Nkamian John, the Beloved, also known as the Controversial, signing out.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Kunle Remy.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is William Suchemba.
My name is Choma Chukwuka.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Stan Nze.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Vivian Glam Gabriel.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Jide Kene.
Hi, Rapid TV. My name is Steve Chooks.
Best Afrobeat song will go to The Bunch and Snoop Dogg, Oliver Twist.
Piece of my heart, Whiskey.
Right now, will probably Be Grateful by Fino.
My favorite Afrobeat song is Afrobeat.
I can't. There's so much.
It has to be one of our Rasta songs.
I love a lot of them. I don't think I have a favorite Afrobeat song right now. I cannot pick.
I can't pop.
Living in Bondage.
It has to be between Blood Sisters and Lionhearts.
I don't have favorite anything. I have favorite food. I have favorite colors. I barely have favorite any other thing.
Oh my God. Living in Bondage. The first one. I'm not a child.
Right now, a ghetto love story.
Okay, my favorite Nigerian dish would be
Panga stew with rice.
Come on now. Okwa.
Pounded yam and egusi soup.
Beans and plantain.
Is oha soup. Fufu and oha soup. Thank you.
Bread and akara.
bitter leaf soup with catfish and snail and fufu. Proper Santana. Apple.
Nnekedu keke ime. Idi sure na ede mma. Idi kwoi. Ilalo ofuma tata. Iteta iligo kwenni. Iman ndi gị n'afọ. You make things. You understand? Okay.